All right, so we are back with part two of Lawanda Crawford's story about her experience with breast cancer. Um, I think, it might be appropriate for us to go into the topic of just learning, what does treatment look like, Lawanda?
Okay, so why? So this was, I guess, how my breast cancer journey started with my fight for survival. So I found out in end of November, beginning of December, that I had breast cancer. So I celebrate my survivorship the day I found out that I had breast cancer, which is December 6th. And so to me, that's when we put those boxing gloves on. That's when I got all my prayer warriors together. And that's when I started fighting. So I celebrate my survivorship every year on that date. So from that December, we immediately started, a battery of tests, lots of labs, genetic testing, CT scans, MRIs, PET scans, chest x-rays. It was just one test after another, getting me ready to see what treatment looked like. And also the main thing was waiting for the pathology reports so we could see just kind of what stage it was, best way to treat it, and to go on from there. So for me, I had breast cancer in my right breast. I'm always in fear of reoccurrence. So after talking to my surgeon on the best treatment plan, I decided to go with a double mastectomy. That's not the gold standard of care, but for me and my peace of mind, that's the route that I chose to do. So that January, I had a double mastectomy. That went perfect. I recovered from that surgery just fine. And then from there, I went into treatment. After my 6 to 8 weeks were up, had a port put in on my left chest. And from there, that's for me to have my chemo treatments. So in that March, I started my chemotherapy treatments. I had 16 rounds of chemotherapy. The first 2 months, I went every other week. That's when you had your hardest drugs, which they call your AC drugs. And that kind of hits you the hardest. That's when you lose your hair, like within the first 1 to 2 treatments. So I did lose all of my hair at that point. So that was the first 2 months. And so then the last 3 months of my chemo treatment were weekly. So I finished the 16 rounds of treatment started that March. I think I finished June 16th, during that summer. And so from there, it was then talking to my oncologist to see where we go from there. How do you know that all the cancer is gone? What other are your post tests that you do after that? And so for us, we decided to go ahead and talk to a radiation oncologist just to kind of see if I needed any type of radiation treatment as well. And we decided to go ahead and do radiation because I did have a lymph node that showed up when I did my PET scan right here in the mid part of my chest. Now my lymph nodes under my arm that I had the breast cancer was positive on, those were negative. But I did have a lymph node in my mid chest area, which is called a mammary node, that showed up on the PET scan. And just a little bit of history with that, typically lymph nodes don't show up, but because of where it is placed in my chest, it's difficult to do a biopsy there. So not knowing the reason why it showed up, we went ahead and decided to do radiation. And from there, I did 28 rounds of radiation, and I finished my radiation that October. So I went from 16 rounds of chemo, then 28 rounds of radiation. And then I finished that October. With that, I did experience the discoloration of my skin, the burning of my skin, your skin peeling. So with that, you also have to look at treating your skin in that breast area, because towards the end, it was painful having your skin to kind of, I mean, it was like having a 3rd-degree burn. And so you have to treat your skin, different type of creams and things like that, but that ended up healing nicely. So I finished that October, and then went right into that December of having a hysterectomy. Definitely needed to have my my ovaries removed, because the type of cancer I had was positive and negative for estrogen, which means that estrogen feeds the cancer. And of course, we know we get all of our hormones, well, the majority of our female hormones, from our ovaries. So I had to have my ovaries removed. Talking to my surgeon about that, I decided to do a total hysterectomy, just because I did not want later on to have cervical cancer, or ovarian cancer, different things like that. Though my genetic testing came back negative for having the BRCA1 and 2, just for my peace of mind, I went ahead and had a total hysterectomy. It was a lot that those first 9 months. I went through a lot. Your first chemo dose throws you into menopause. So right from menopause, having, the hot flashes, the insomnia, the moods up and down, the different states of depression that goes along with having different hormonal changes in your body, I experienced all of that. So my treatment, just to kind of do a recap, was all the battery of tests afterwards, after getting your diagnosis, to kind of see the best way to treat. I went right into having a double mastectomy, then my 16 rounds of chemo, and then from there, my 28 rounds of radiation. And then I went right into having a total hysterectomy, all between, actually, yeah, that first full year of 2019. That's what I went through.
And then we slid right into COVID. And then you're a frontliner, you're
Yes,
a provider on
yes,
top
we
of
did.
all of that.
Yeah, and for me, I know this is a heavy topic. Breast cancer is something very serious. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed in breast cancer within their lifetime. But for me, what was so shocking, and I don't want this to be something that's a depressing or kind of get women down. I really just want this to bring awareness, how I never thought in a million years I would be diagnosed with breast cancer. I have absolutely no family history of breast cancer. All of my genetic testing came back negative, but yet and still I had breast cancer. And for me, what if I didn't go that month in October, in that November, to get my mammogram? What if I had skipped that month because all of my other previous mammograms were negative? We can get just so busy in the hustle and bustle of day-to-day living that we may forget to check on ourselves. And I don't even want to imagine what could have happened if I would have missed 1 or 2 months in getting my mammogram. I could have had major lymph node involvement. And breast cancer is not a death sentence. With early detection, proper management, doing your breast examinations, knowing how your breasts feel, we can get through this.
The one thing that I'm thinking about, Lawanda, is, like when I first met you, and then like today, like you have not changed. at all, like at all. Still sweet, still cool, still working, you
Ah,
know, and
but you don't see me going crazy behind the scenes.
no, I never have seen that. I ain't never seen that part, always calm and cool and collected, But maybe if you don't mind, let's take another break.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll do one more video if you're okay with it.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
We just need to speed up to today. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.